want to welcome you back to our walk through Romans. Yesterday, I didn't even get close to getting finished with what I had planned to cover in that day. So join with me now and go back to Romans, the 15th chapter, starting with verse number 23. Now, the Apostle Paul has been talking about his ministry, and he's going to say something to the Romans. Actually, go back to verse number 22, and it says, "For this reason I have often been prevented from coming to you." What was the reason why the Apostle Paul had not been to Rome? You know, you would be thinking that Rome now is the capital of this region. The Romans were in control. You would think that people would go to Rome, but not the Apostle Paul. Why? Because the Apostle Paul was called to go to places where the gospel had not been preached. Now, the Apostle Paul is not saying that it's wrong to go to places where the gospel was preached. He's saying, for me, this is my calling. This is the grace that I have, is to go to places where the gospel's not been preached. The gospel had already been preached in Rome. In fact, when we get into chapter number 16, we're going to see a whole list of people that are in Rome that are born again believers. The gospel was already in Rome. And so the thing that was preventing the Apostle Paul from going to Rome was there were already believers there. Now, going on into verse number 23. "But now, with no further place for me in these regions, since I have had many years a longing to come to you." Now, what's the Apostle Paul? He says there's no place in these regions. The Apostle Paul is writing this letter from the city of Corinth. The gospel's been preached in the Achaia Peninsula, where the city of Corinth is at. The gospel has been preached in Macedonia. The gospel has been preached in Thrace. The gospel's already been preached over there in Turkey and Ephesus and all the cities that are found in Asia Minor. And now he's saying, I'm done. I have preached all over this whole region. I have preached the gospel around this region. And he says, therefore, he says, since I have had many years a longing to come to you, whenever I go to Spain. What's the Apostle Paul doing? He's skipping right over Rome and he's going to Spain. What's the characteristic of Spain at that time? Spain had not heard the gospel. What's Paul saying? He's saying, I'm just doing what God called me to do. You know, every one of us needs to have that as our number one concern in our relationship with the Lord. Are you doing what God called you to do? Basically, that's what the Apostle Paul is saying here. And so he says, on my way to Spain, I'm going to stop in Rome. I'm going to stop by. Notice what he says. Whenever I go to Spain, I hope to see you in passing. He said, I'm not going to hang out there very long. Why? Because I'm not called to a place that's already got the gospel. I'm going to see you in passing. In other words, I'm going to be passing through, and I'm going to see you. And then he goes on and he says, and to be helped on my way there by you, when I have first enjoyed your company for a while. Two things, two reasons why he's going to Rome. Number one, to be helped on his way. He is looking to the people in Rome of helping him finance this trip to Spain. How many of you know you go into an area that the gospel's not preached? They don't have any idea of taking an offering for the preacher. The gospel's never been there. So Paul said, I want you to help me on my way. When I get there, help me on my way. And then the very last thing that he says, and I'm going to enjoy your company. Now let's move on into verse number 25. But now, what's he doing? He's talking about now. He's talking about where he's at right now. But now I am going to Jerusalem serving the saints. What's Paul saying? I'm not coming right now. Right now, I'm on my way to Jerusalem. You see, it's not going to be long after this, and the Apostle Paul is going to be leaving Corinth, and he's going to be making his trip to Jerusalem. Now, why is he going to Jerusalem? He says, for Macedonia and Achaia have been pleased to make a contribution for the poor among the saints in Jerusalem. What is the Apostle Paul doing? He's carrying an offering. He's carrying with him an offering that was taken by the believers in Macedonia and Achaia. He's carrying their contribution. Now, where's this contribution going to? It's going to go to the poor among the saints in Jerusalem. Now, keep in mind, Jerusalem, the saints in Jerusalem have been under tremendous persecution. Many of them have lost their jobs. Many of them have lost their mates, their spouses. They've lost their families. They've been kicked out of their families. Their family finances and wealth have been lost. And so Paul has taken an offering to Jerusalem. And he says, yes, they were pleased to do so. He's talking here about the saints in Macedonia and Achaia. He said they were pleased. But then he goes on and he says, and they are indebted to them. What's he talking about? He's talking about the Gentiles in Macedonia and Achaia. They had a realization that they were indebted to the Jewish people. And he goes on now in verse number 27, and he says, for if the Gentiles have shared their spiritual things, they are indebted to minister to them also in material things. Do you know that everything that we have as believers, its origin is in the Jewish people? It's in Israel. Let me just end this podcast by saying to you, you need to have a heart for Israel. You need to feel like you're indebted to Israel, that you have a payment that you need to make towards Israel. Let me just say this, let that payment be in your prayers and in your support of the nation of Israel. Thank you for watching us today. Join us again tomorrow as we continue our walk through the book of Romans.